Joining me first up is Jason Falinski, the Liberal member for Mackellar in Sydney. He joins me live from Canberra. Thanks for joining us, Jason. Is it a good thing that this religious discrimination bill has just been put on hold now and is going nowhere?
I don't think it is, Chris. I was listening to your remarks earlier. I largely agree with what you say, but this is an open and tolerant society. We have protections under the law on issues of gender, disability, sexuality, and that should be, as a Liberal, that should be extended to freedom of thought, freedom of belief and freedom of association. And the fact that these laws have been amended the way they were means that that wasn't going to be the case, and it means that people of belief remain unprotected under the law, and that's a very disappointing situation that we find ourselves in, especially in the 22 years into the 21st century.
This federation is 120 years old, and we've been operating without those laws protecting religious freedom. And where has been the problem? We haven't had problems arising. Why do we have to invent laws to solve a problem that doesn't exist?
Oh, Chris, you're absolutely right. I mean, why do we invent laws for many of the things we do? But the fact of the matter is that our society has moved on. I think that I listen to you most nights and I hear you bemoan the fact that politics is now so toxic because of the influence of social media. The fact is that our society is not what it was back in 1901 when our nation came into being. We are not the same people we were. But our vision and our mission towards a more perfect nation continues. And that's why any law that embeds more freedom, more tolerance and less discrimination in our society is something that not only should we welcome, but something that we should encourage. And I just can't understand why it turned into such a cause célèbre for the left.
Well, what's happened now, though, then is a failure for the government. You haven't been able to get these laws through, and they were an election promise.
Worse than that, Chris, it's not just a failure for the government, it's a failure for our nation, and most importantly, it's a failure for Australians. Because, as I've said, we do not have in our laws now embedded the rights and freedoms and protections of law for people of freedom of belief, freedom of thought and freedom of association. And that is something that I personally find very disappointing in the 21st century.
All right, you mentioned that you watch this show most nights, and bless you for doing that. I just want to show a little clip of Catherine Deves, who I interviewed on the show last night. She's a Liberal Party member, but she's been knocked back in going for pre-selection, contesting pre-selection in the crucial seat of Warringah because her membership doesn't go back far enough. That could be changed with the stroke of a pen, of course, but here's a little bit of what Catherine had to say last night.
I am not just someone that the Liberal Party will sort of choose amongst the ranks to throw at the voters. I am new to this, but everyone has been very encouraging. And I think that is because the people who know me they recognise in me an ability to champion change in a fearless and nuanced way. Through my women's advocacy, I have stood up, demonstrated that I am willing to stand up for what I believe in.
Jason, is the Liberal Party so flush with strong, articulate, successful women arguing for conservative values, willing to contest marginal seats, that they can afford to reject her candidature?
Well, Chris, no party is, frankly, flush enough with capable people, regardless of gender. So I think that it is important that we have as many people as we possibly can competing. We had an excellent candidate in Jane Bunkle. The process has been dragged out for too long. The Prime Minister is on the public record as saying that people are playing games. And,
but Catherine Deves, the fact she hasn't been a member, she'd been a member previously, but her current membership doesn't go back 6 months. That's a silly technicality, isn't it? They know her credentials. She's been a public advocate. She's willing to contest the pre-selection. Shouldn't the New South Wales Liberal Party allow her to do that?
Oh, Chris, as I say, the New South Wales Liberal Party should allow as many capable people into the field as possible in Warringah, but it's not about us. It's not about the current member. It's about the people of Warringah and the people of Australia. And that's why we need as many capable people in Parliament as possible.
Great. Thanks for joining us, Jason. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate it too.
Jason.